Hi, I'm Hayley. Welcome to my Me as a Maker video. I'd just like to say that I'm really excited to actually do a MET course in person with real people, so I'm really looking forward to that. So a little introduction of myself. In the past I have been a naval engineer, a public affairs officer, a doula, a childbirth educator, and now I am an instructional designer. Now, I know what you're all thinking. If my undergrad is in civil engineering, I pretty much have to be a professional maker. Right? Wrong. Well, actually, having now read up on some of the course literature, I'm aware that you can't really be a professional maker by definition, but also, despite my engineering background, I've never been much of a tinker in the traditional messing around with motherboards or power tools kind of way. But that doesn't mean I don't like to make things. I just have never been part of the maker culture to date. Actually, the maker side of me is probably the much more creative, emphasize the A in STEAM kind of person. It likely stems from the thrifty environmentalist in me. Let's take Halloween, for example. I love Halloween costumes. Like, I take unnatural amounts of pride in allowing my kids to be anything they want for Halloween, but then take their choices as a challenge to work with them to produce a costume that costs nothing and creates no waste. I also like to mess around with design programs like this one, but I've never tried to join a community of people that do this stuff. This may have something to do with the 3 kids and 2 dogs taking up all my time. So what is my maker philosophy? Why don't we just take a look at this convenient explainer video. My philosophy. To be honest, my opinions on makerspaces before this course were a bit mixed. My kids would come home from school having supposedly participated in these spaces, but in reality, it was more like relabeling unsupervised creation of artwork from recycling. I agree that free play is very important for creativity and pleasure, but I didn't feel like access to scissors, way too much tape, and old yogurt containers automatically meant you had a makerspace. I had trouble connecting these activities to problem solving. What was the purpose? Where was the reflection? To me, what separates free play and a makerspace is an objective, which can be very personal and unstructured, but learners need to be able to ask themselves what they're setting out to work on. How they get there can still involve a whole lot of tape, but also a plan, some trial and error, some collaboration, and periods of reflection to identify what they're learning. I'd agree with design thinking. Children are more likely to behave and be less disruptive when motivated with meaningful work. I think this fits in also with my experiences in childbirth education. Women are more connected and empowered when they feel like the class was tailored to what their wishes were. When they can get up and physically experience a lesson, choose what works for them, and come up with personalized plans on how they will cope with birth and parenting. Thanks to the MET program, my eyes have also been open to learning principles like the first people's principles of learning. I definitely feel like learning is better as a story, as something you can experience, allowing subjects to be interdisciplinary and attached to the earth. I'd also like to talk a little bit about my philosophy towards the Adidas frameworks. I spent 15 years learning and working in the very white male culture of the Canadian military. It's been eye-opening in the last few years to see the world from outside that framework. I can now reflect on that culture, which was never designed for me to thrive in, and I think that has helped change my perspective on a one-size-fits-all learning design. I think it's incredibly important to consider who we are creating learning experiences for and how it can be created to be more culturally relevant and valuable to each individual, and also how we can all benefit from more diverse curriculums. And now back to me. So, back to me and this course. Before this course, when I thought of makerspaces, I thought of the standard image of famous maker types, and had pre-decided that this was not me. Reading about community repair spaces so far has made me realize that there's actually an environmentalist side of the maker movement. I have yet really to actually attempt to see how inclusive the movement really is for somebody as non-techie as myself, but I'm hoping that this course will increase my confidence to put myself out there and in turn encourage other adults to do that as well. So I'm taking this course from the perspective of an instructional designer, and I want adults to have just as much of a chance as kids to have some time hands-on learning. So I'm really looking forward to creating maker spaces with you guys and actually working with you in person. I'm looking forward to seeing you all very soon.